Hello everybody, it has stopped raining. First time in 2024. Don't ask for much, just a little bit of sunshine. Been out for a walk in the woods in my shirt sleeves, which is frankly unthinkable given what we had last week. Anyway, so I'm full of beans and ready to make another Vivaldi video. Oh yes. So today we've got a bit of a rarity. Actually, it's a relatively well-known work, but it's only one of them. It's Concerto for mandolin and strings. This is part of our preparation for when Raffaele La Ragione comes to visit us in May for a couple of concerts in St Martin-in-the-Fields and in
Northleach
in Gloucestershire. I did know that.
Music for country churches.
Music for country churches in Northleach. Be there or be square. Anyway, so the Mandolin Concerto survives in Turin as part of Vivaldi's personal collection as in a volume which he titled Concertos for More Voices, although, to be fair, this has only got one voice, the mandolin. It's a pretty neat copy, as you can see. Very neatly written mandolino. Top left. Sometimes Vivaldi gets a bit confused and ends up writing the violin 2 part on top of the violin 1 part and then corrects in the second system. What's interesting about this, however, I don't know if you know the work, but Vivaldi's written Si può anche fare con tutti I violini pizzicati, which means you can also play this with all the violins playing pizzicato, which I guess is what we'll probably be doing next month. That's quite difficult. I think almost certainly this was a piece written for the pitar, so they obviously had very good pizzicato technique in the ospedale. But what is interesting is that I don't know if the resolution from my phone is good enough, but you can see that the ink and the quill with which Vivaldi has written this is totally different to all the other stuff that he's written. So which suggests to me that is a later edition. So presumably, originally he composed it thinking people would be playing with their bows, and they thought, let's make it a bit trickier, let's make the violins play pizzicato. So, and there are a number of other things about this manuscript as well that suggest a degree of development. So, for instance, if we go and have a look at one of the first solos, you will see that that there are actually numerous passages like this where Vivaldi has written the mandolin part and then written an alternative. This, I am assuming, is easier underneath compared to this with double stopping. I don't know what you call it in mandolin terminology, but if it was on the violin, that'd be called double stopping. So there's all sorts of little passages like that where you have alternative versions. Though interestingly, if you go to the last movement in 2:16, you also have passages that Vivaldi composed that he actually then crossed out and wrote an alternative version. So my reading is that maybe he didn't. Maybe the bits that were crossed out were corrected relatively soon after composition, but the other bits that aren't crossed out are sort of his thoughts when he came back to the work a little bit later on. Going back to the idea of playing it all with violins pizzicato, this does open a bit of a can of worms because it does very clearly say violins pizzicato, not violas, not bassi or anything else, or anything like that. Indeed, another interesting point to add is that the continuo instrument is always marked the violoncello solo, which is unusual to find that kind of clarity on a Vivaldi bass line. Often the parts of the soloist are marked with directions like solo and tutti, but on the bass line, that's pretty unusual. So do we take that at face value? Do we just use one cello and that's it? Or is it saying that the other cellos don't play and there's only one cello, but an organ can also play? well, we'll have to find out what we do next month. But as I say, going back to the pizzicato issue, violins, pizzicato, not violas or basses. But then you come to, do you apply that to the whole concerto? Or is it just the first movement? It does pose problems, as you can see if you look at the second movement, because obviously the violins occupy these two staves here. This is the viola. This is the bass. Obviously, if you've got the violins playing pizzicato, then you obviously need the violas and the bass to play pizzicato as well. But he doesn't actually specify that. So I don't know. Well, I guess Raffaele will have some ideas. I mean, I wouldn't be against playing it all pizzicato, particularly in that movement, but we'll have to see. Anyway, there you go. Mandolin Concerto, really groovy piece. See you later.